Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I just put out a video a few days ago using Syntheseps and Bubble for Warlock. It got very good reviews, but I got tons of comments about wanting the other version of this build without the class item and without the glaive. And I have it for you here today. So we're using Felwinters Helm as the exotic of choice here instead. So what Felwinters Helm does instead of so the other one we use Syntheseps that boosted our melee damage. Felwinters is more of a support style. So essentially what you're gonna do is suppress enemies and weaken them. So you'll do more damage to them and your teammates will, and they won't be able to fight back because they'll be suppressed and they're essentially blinded. And also we're gonna lean more into the finisher aspect of this, because when we do a finisher, the weaken is significantly stronger, it's a wider radius, and it lasts much longer. So this build, you very much want to be using finishers. Um, and the other exotic of choice for our primary weapon, we're using Choir of One. This weapon is so incredibly strong, you cannot go wrong with this thing. With the newly buffed destabilizing rounds, this thing mows through chaff. It'll deal with barrier champions. It will it will do good damage to literally everything. This weapon is a freaking tank. It's probably the best weapon in the game right now. Highly, highly recommend this thing. And then we're utilizing some artifact perks here. We're utilizing Void Flux, Malignant Harvest, and Volatile Marksman for our Void stuff. And then we're utilizing Flashover and Overclocked and Loaded, as well as, you know, these rounds to deal with champions. So we'll keep that in mind. Alright, getting into the main build. Needlestorm. This is the super of choice we need Needlestorm on because of the fragments we're running. So it's an okay super. I definitely prefer Nova Bomb and Song of Flame, but it's still a good super. It's gonna do good damage, so it's nice. You can run whatever class ability you like. I like Phoenix Dive, but the other ones are fine. This is a run and gun build, so the Rift's not as useful. Burst Glide for movement. We need Needles, Arcane Needle for our Lightning Surge, since this is a follow-up melee build just like the other one. We're running the Cold Snap grenades instead of the Weaken grenades this time, so we don't really need to weaken with this setup like we did with the other one, because, you know, our exotic helmet does the weakening for us. So we're using Cold Snap. If you did not know, you do significantly increase melee damage to frozen enemies. So you throw this into a chunkier enemy, and then you do a Lightning Surge into them, you are going to hit them for a lot of damage. So keep that in mind. Fragments. Sacrifice, we almost always have Devour or Amplified active, therefore, it is nice to have uh, to get our Darkness Transcendence since, you know, we're doing mostly light damage. Fast of Courage, this allows when we throw a Cold Snap grenade onto an enemy, our Lightning Surge does even more damage to them. Protection, so we are going to stack a bunch of damage resistance, so we'll utilize faster protection plus lightning surge will make us amplified. And so if we stack amplified plus protection plus our next thing, faster purpose here, essentially every time you pick up an orb of power, you're going to have woven mail. So we're going to try to make as many orbs of power as we can. This is why we have to have Needle Storm on. Also, when we run Defiance here, this allows when we do a finisher on an enemy, it's going to sever everything around them. So essentially, when you do a finisher on an enemy, you're going to sever them, weaken them, and suppress them, essentially rendering them useless. Like any enemy around that finisher, they're not going to be able to do anything to you. So that's super sweet. We're running that 100 resilience and 100 strength to ensure we are tanky and get plenty of melees off. We're running Lost Signal as our top slot. We're running double special once again. This thing is nice. The area denial frame grenade launchers give you tons of transcendence energy. You just spread it out amongst a ton of ads, and it absolutely farms transcendence. So we use this primarily to farm up our transcendence, and Choir of One is our main damage. And then we either have Doom Petitioner or Hammerhead, depending on the champions. I have Hammerhead equipped because I just dealt with overloads, but for like dungeons, Doom Petitioner's great with the artifact particle reconstruction. Okay, our helmet here. Running a stasis siphon to get orbs. We want to make as many orbs as possible with this setup. Hands on, and then Void Siphon. So this gives us super energy, and these other two are for orbs from either Void or Stasis weapons. On our gloves, I have two heavy-handeds. To be honest, if you didn't want this, I had this on for the dungeon for the Doom Petitioner to reload it quicker. But you could run three heavy-handeds here, to be honest, if you don't need the increased reload. Because this will make it so every time you get a melee kill, it's guaranteed to give an orb. There's no cooldown anymore. So running three I would recommend if you're gonna, especially when you're in Transcendence mode, because you want Woven Mail up as much as possible. Chest piece, I'm just running reserves. It's always nice to run melee resistance, but I already find you get so much damage resistance once you get amplified, woven mail, and max resilience, and every enemy around you is going to be severed quite often. So, if you think about it, that's just so much damage resistance that in most activities you're not going to have to worry about it. You're just going to get one shot by either the environment or something at that point. Boots, we're just running things to get our abilities back. It doesn't really matter too much what you run on your boots. And then on our bond here, powerful attraction to get our orbs whenever we Phoenix dive, because we're making a lot of orbs, so it's nice to be able to pull them into ourselves. Okay, proximity ward is actually really important. You get a really strong overshield, and we're going to be doing tons of finishers. And so this just helps us stay alive when we're getting finishers off, so that's really nice. And then we're using all that armor charge that we'll almost always have full to give us special ammo, since, we're running double special. This build has a simple gameplay loop that I'll show you guys in the Legend Lost sector. Alrighty, we are loading into the Legend Lost sector here. This is not that hard of one, it's just what I had available today. So I'm trying to use my stasis stuff to get our Darkness Transcendence up here. Get a finisher off. See how we're amplified. We have Bolt Charge and Woven Mail. I mean, we're super tanky. Like I said, I should be able to avoid dying to most things. As you'll see, this thing with destabilizing rounds destroys. This auto rifle is so good. So, as you notice, I forego bringing barrier weapon. As you can see, this auto rifle absolutely decimates. And it gets barrier rounds very briefly whenever you kill an enemy with the new changes stabilizing rounds. So, if you didn't bring an overload, lightning surge, as you see, does stun unstops, or overload, sorry. So, I mean, this gameplay loop isn't hard. You want to be finishing any major enemy you see. Try not to lightning surge into the exploder shanks, because they will OHKO you. Or shoot them at point blank range. I'm sure I'm going to shoot one eventually here. But this auto rifle is going to mow. Like, we're in a pretty hard activity here, and we are absolutely going to town on all these enemies. So, I probably could have finished this guy to get more special ammo, but like I said, most activities there's rally flags or whatnot. So, see, I messed up getting the barrier rounds on my auto rifle here since everything is stunned. So, that's okay. We should be able to burst through him. Get a finisher off on him. This thing does tons of damage up close. I should be able to burst. If you hip fire with this weapon, I'm sure if you have it, you've used it before. It does insane damage. Okay, I'll get my finisher off here. This will make me a special brick, as you can see. There's explodey guys. I'm trying to avoid them. As you'll see, I'm staying alive easily. See how everybody's blinded and suppressed and severed? Yep, I forgot about the exploding guys. I instinctually shot when I turned around. That's okay. But as you'll see, like outside of getting one shot, like I said, you're very tanky. You're not gonna die to most enemies, and you have great boss damage. Great ad clear. This build is going to destroy most content. Just trying to get a finisher off. We got one more enemy up here. All right. Like I said, this is a really short lost sector. I'm trying to finish off my darkness transcendence with my darkness abilities here. Because if you didn't know, when you're transcendence, you have more damage resistance and you do more weapon damage. But I saved my needle storm for this boss. So I'm trying to get this off so that I can get a woven mail from the orb that they drop, which they did, and that makes me basically unkillable. I missed the grenade. Doesn't matter. He's cooked. This isn't a hard lost sector, but pretty simple gameplay loop. I hope you guys enjoyed this setup. For those who don't have the exotic class item, this is a pretty simple build. I hope you guys enjoy. I'll catch you guys in the next video. See y'all.